Hello, Toby. Nice to have
Hello,
you on the Rock
hello.
Hard Grease once again.
Hello, nice to be had. Always a pleasure.
And it's always a pleasure releasing an album in the first days of the year, as I always want to do the first interviews of the year with the most positive people I know. And luckily, almost every year is you.
You see how you see how much I work.
So you have, we're going to speak about dragons now. Dungeons
I don't
and
know too,
Dragons, don't know.
I don't know too much about dragons, I have to say. I just found out that apparently the creature on my album is not a dragon, it's a wyvern. I've been told by somebody who complained about how could I call an album Here Be Dragons when there is a wyvern on the cover. Because, and I asked why? Because a dragon has four legs and a wyvern has two legs, and the thing on our cover has only two legs, so it's a wyvern. So I said, "Look, I never, I've never really been into dragonology, you know, but discussing the anatomy of a mystic mythological creature." That does not really exist says everything about the approach of heavy metal fans, making this a matter of life and death. No, it's a dragon. No, it's a wyvern. No, it's I love Sabbath with Dio. No, with Ozzy Osbourne. I want a red cover. No, I want a yellow cover. It's like, in heavy metal, a lot of things or lots of things are a little bit like with children. Sometimes you have to really and I really find myself that sometimes we all behave like children. It's like, could you imagine somebody in calling a record company in pop music and saying, "Oh, I want the new Robbie Williams album in red, but it's just the blue one is available. I want the red vinyl." That's only in heavy metal where it happens like this. That's,
Yeah, and in fact,
we are all a bit crazy.
yeah, because the person who has said it might have seen a dragon while smoking or or
Ah, yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
in his side, he might have four legs.
Yeah, maybe that was the reason. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, or
possibly.
yeah. So, uh, whichever mythological creatures we are going to speak about, we're going to speak about music as well.
Mhm.
So, um, uh, Avantasia has known no limitations since I could say the Scarecrow album. Uh,
Mhm.
However, on this album, it combines many of the well-known characteristics of Avantasia and trademarks, but it also feels that it's very concise, it's very tight, it's more focused on the songs themselves. That's what I get from the first listens of the album. Do you get this too?
Absolutely, and it's really, really difficult to understand or to explain or to even grasp for myself why that is the case. Because for the first time in my life, for the first time in the history of Avantasia, I didn't sit down in the beginning with a white shed of paper to write a concept to serve me as a guideline and write a conceptual storyline. I just had no storyline. I said, like, the story concept that I always loved because it would sometimes give me a guideline for all the songs and all the characters, but I thought it had gotten a bit in the way of my freedom. And I don't like things that get in the way of my freedom. I just want to create music and want to do it the way I have it in my head and completely freely without a tight corset on. So I just started to throw myself into the whole process and wrote songs. And I had the faith that they will sound like Avantasia, they will feel like Avantasia. I knew I have Avantasia in my DNA, and I had the trust that it would all fall into place without me following a storyline. And so I wrote 10 individual little images or poems or stories or tales, whatever you call it, and together they become a wonderful Avantasia album. And each song, I focused very much on just the song without thinking about anything else. And for some reason, out came the one of the most cohesive and punchy Avantasia albums with all the trademarks and everything, and it sounds like Avantasia, and every song really beautifully works for itself, like a band album, I would say. It's I can't really explain why that is, but I can feel that the album has a very, very a liberating. You can feel the undertone of the album is it screams freedom. It screams carefreeness. It is it is breaking free from a ball and a chain. And I just perceive it as that. It was really liberating to do this album. And also the two previous albums have been very um melancholic in a way that I had to deal with a lot of things that I had a lot of things that I had to deal with mentally, and I had to process, and I had to let them out in music. And that's why it's a very sinister, very, I don't want to say it has a lot of burden, but it's a little more um heavy-hearted in a way, the two previous albums. But this new album, I had got everything off my chest for this new album. It was all said. I was at peace with myself. And I returned to just escaping and writing fantastic songs, fantastic stories, which you can also hear. A song like Creepshow, I don't think I would have put that on an Avantasia record 5 or 6 years ago. I just had the confidence to do it because I said this cheerful, tongue-in-cheek side of me. It's a side of me, and Avantasia allows me to include everything I want because I'm the king in Avantasia. It's my kingdom, and I make the rules. And I said, okay, it doesn't have to be melancholic. It doesn't have to be heavy-hearted from start to finish. There are some melancholic passages, but I really just let go and let it flow and let it roll. And that's probably why the album is so free
Yeah.
and carefree.
Yeah. You know, I can't say that it's, you know, my best Avantasia album. As you know, everybody has its own memories from the albums, and
Yeah.
being with you back in '99 in Bochum in Matrix in the release in the listening session of the first Avantasia album, which is now 26 years ago. Wow.
No, there was 2000 was that. No, December 2000 or January 2001?
December 2000, it's 24 plus years.
No, December 2001.
No, no, no.
December 2000, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
December 2000. Yeah, my God.
Yeah. Okay,
Time flies.
2020, long time.
Time flies. Time flies. But I feel I enjoyed this Avantasia album from the first listen uh, much better than the two previous ones because it did give me that, you know, that feeling. It gave me that carefree feeling, to tell you the truth.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
enjoyed that. And this time, uh, or in the last few albums, I could say, you keep a core of singers, mostly the singers that you tour with, and there's less need of finding new members to join the family. Is it a change of approach?
I don't know if that is a change of approach, but I think I mean I never really Oh, I want to believe I never had to prove anything to anybody, but of course, the older you get, the less you have to prove, and the more you focus on what is important and what matters. And I just have those great voices in my environment. And I mean, look at Iron Maiden. You know, they've done 12 albums with the same singer, and they're all great. You know, nobody asks who's going to sing on the next Iron Maiden album. Is it going to be Rob Halford? No, perhaps it's just Bruce Dickinson. Oh, really? It gets boring after a while, doesn't it? No, it doesn't get boring because it's Bruce Dickinson. It's Iron Maiden. So in Avantasia, we have 8 or 9 singers, and it got to a point where people said, "Oh, it's he should have this singer and he should have. People make all kinds of suggestions who should sing the songs to keep it more exciting. Now it is exciting. The songs are exciting. The singers who sing them, they deliver great performances. This is not just about effect and about showing off and about novelty. I mean, like our whole entertainment business these days is based on flashy news. People dress up, some dress up like pirates and there are crusaders, and you sometimes think that people go to first they go to a carnival dress store and then they go to the guitar store and learn their instruments, and they have the band concept first. "Oh, we're going to be the crusaders. Yeah, we're going to be the warriors. We're going to be the wolves. We're going to be not the wolves. The wolves are a great band. Powerwolf, I really, they deliver the goods. But you get the point. Everybody, when you open a music magazine, you think it's a catalog for funny clothes, but it does, and it's a medieval pirates and whatever. Anyway, so I think a lot of what the entertainment industry is about is news and novelty and show off. And people want new names for every record, but I don't play that game. If I will ever get the chance to work with Bruce Dickinson, that would be lovely. If I will ever get the chance to work with Rob Halford, great. But I don't do this as a trophy collection. I have experienced so much. I've been touring with some of the greatest artists in rock. We toured with Aerosmith and the Scorpions, and we played with Maiden and Kiss, and I've worked with Alice Cooper and the Scorpions guys and John Oliva, and so many great singers and bands that I've worked with. I don't need anybody in my trophy collection anymore. I have so many, and I just want to play my music. And those singers on the new record, they did such a wonderful job. We have new kids in town, so to speak. Adrian Cowan never sang on an Avantasia album. Then there is Tommy Karevik, who never sang in an Avantasia. Then there is Kenny Leckremo, who never sang in Avantasia. We have news,
Yeah.
but we didn't have the Pope and Bugs Bunny, and I don't play that game. I refuse to have people throw names at me and expect me to incorporate them into Avantasia to live out somebody else's fantasy of what Avantasia should be.
And to tell
I,
you the truth, who would be better than Jeff Tate, for example?
there is
Who would be better than Roy Khan? Who would be better than? Okay, we all have selections, but whoever has a selection should create his own Avantasia and call them to sing.
exactly, and it's with Jeff Tate and Michael Kiske. I think I have the two best singers in that
Field.
very technical field. I mean, of course, it's all based on what Dickinson and Halford have been doing before, and it's a different ball game a little bit. But that technical aspect, that neoclassical aspect of singing, I think Jeff Tate and Michael Kiske put it on a technical level that influenced a whole genre, just like Halford and Dickinson and Ian Gillan maybe influenced a genre as well. But it's just I'm so happy. Sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side. Sometimes just because you are granted to work with some of the best, uh, you shouldn't still take it for granted. You should still appreciate it, and I really appreciate it to have singers like I mean Ronnie Atkins. When I was a kid, I was listening to those records over and over again. Future World, Jump the Gun, it meant the world to me, and all of a sudden he's on tour with me, and we're best friends. He's an amazing, lovely person. We just had a phone call that for 2 hours when I was walking through the forest, and we talk about all kinds of things, and it's just I work with the best. I work with the best. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. If I will have an idea and I say, okay, it, I need whoever, Elton John. No, it's probably not going to work out. But if I have the idea and I will have to work with somebody completely different and somebody, yeah, then I will do it. There's no limitations. But I don't do it to have a trophy on the wall.
Yeah, but you definitely seem to have a very good connection with Magnum and Tony Clarkin. Bring on the
Yeah,
Night is a tribute to Magnum, I could say. Tony Clarkin, I mean, not Tony in particular, but
no.
Bob Catley. So Bring on the Night is a kind of tribute to Magnum and Tony Clarkin. You use Rodney Matthews for the cover of of the album. What does Magnum's music mean to you?
It means joy as a music fan. I don't think that Magnum had an overall huge impact on my way of writing overall. I mean, but little bits and pieces of the magic that Magnum's music and the whole experience of buying a new Magnum record and opening it up and putting it on the record player, that that whole feeling that it gave me, that has been a huge part of my musical socialization as a teenager, as a young adult, and still to this day. Well, not to this day because there is no Magnum anymore as it was. And the song came together because, I mean, the experience of listening to a new Magnum record and discovering, the catalog of Magnum, as I said, was a huge part of my musical journey as a music lover. And um, in January last year, Rodney Matthews called me and said, "Hey, Toby, I've got some very sad, tragic news." He told me about Tony Clarkin's passing. And he said, "I want to tell you before you read it in the news, they will issue a press statement later today because I had been playing with Magnum, and in the Magnum family, Tony Clarkin is in the Magnum family. So it's a big family, and,
Yeah,
and somehow we're all connected." And in that conversation, I thought in the back of my head, we talked for 2 hours. I thought of what Magnum means to me and the whole thing and what art truly means to me and how Magnum has never been flavor of the week, but how it's always been there for me and how I never really cared what flavor of the week was. And so I asked Rodney in that particular conversation if he wanted to draw the new Avantasia artwork because I knew modern would be something different. What a modern artwork has to be very iconic. It has to be very, very bulky, not very detailed. It has to work on a thumbnail that is shown on a streaming platform on your mobile phone. That's how a modern music artwork has to work, or in this environment. And Rodney paints these huge things, very lavish, very grotesque, and very detailed. And I knew that would be not what today's music industry would want to have. But I said, I'm going to do it because I do it for me. And that was a conscious decision. And I said, Rodney, you have to paint me a dragon. It has to look iconic on a stamp, but the rest is up to you. Make it detailed. I want to look at it on a poster. Just make sure that if you make it this small, you still can figure out it's a dragon. And the rest is fine. Just do your version with all the details. And he did it. And the song Bring on the Night, it came together in summer when I was sitting at watching a football game, and all of a sudden I had to play piano, and I was playing piano, and I had this melody and the harmony and everything came together within 5 minutes. And I knew right away that this was a tribute, that was what my subconscious mind had done to me, dealing with the loss of Tony Clarkin and Magnum and the fact that this band would not exist anymore. Subconsciously, that had been processing in me, and I processed that thought, and it came up in that song. And I knew, hey, this sounds like Magnum. Bob has to sing it. And I didn't interfere. I let the song drag me in that direction. And I even thought for a short while, maybe it's too much Magnum. Maybe I should incorporate a symphonic orchestra and drag it a little more towards the Avantasia world. And then I said, no, no, Magnum is a part of Avantasia in a way because it's in my DNA too. So it will automatically be an Avantasia song. I will make it a real tribute, and I tried to figure out which keyboards Magnum used on albums like on A Storyteller's Night and on Wings of Heaven and Vigilante, and I even tried to find the same keyboard sounds and get the stuff together. So it is a Magnum tribute, but I still think it works as an Avantasia song.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Um, uh, so it's Herbie Dragons is your first album with Napalm Records.
Yeah.
Uh, what made you have this decision, take this decision after you began in AFM Records and then you changed to Nuclear Blast for many years? What made you did you need a change? Were you not kind of satisfied by the way Nuclear Blast is now because you had been working with people that perhaps had left from the company?
There were many reasons, but none of them was that we had a fallout or something. I mean, the people who worked with me, even recently in Nuclear Blast, were really nice guys and they did a good job. So there's nothing to really complain about. But the whole label policy had changed. They had been, a couple of years ago, they had been sold to an investor. The investor is a distribution company, a digital distribution company that has nothing to do really with heavy metal. They are, I think, a dance distribution company and more an investor. And and a lot of people, were fired or left the company, and it was just like, people changed a lot, and the whole business had changed, and the way that the new label policy approached things were also a bit different to what I had in mind. I know that the digital game is very important, digital distribution, but still, I also have to do it a little bit for myself, and I perceive things a bit differently. I'm really a I want to touch music as well. I want to perceive it with all senses, but that was all not, it was a mix of cases. Also, I had the feeling that Napalm really, really wanted me and they really had known me. And Thomas Casa told me how he ordered the first demo tape of Ed Guy back in '94. And he had, how he read it. I mean, he is really into that kind of music. And he seemed to be a fan of me or us since the first day. It just felt good. It just felt good. Their vision was very, very convincing, and I really felt it was a new shot of energy for us, and also economically. I don't do it for the money, but I don't mind getting a lot of it. So that sounds so rude. No, but it's it's just money doesn't stink. So also
Yeah,
the
okay.
offer was quite good. So
Yeah,
I mean, it was not the best offer we got. That I have to say as well. So I don't do it just for the money. I don't do it just for the money. I could have gotten bigger money elsewhere. I just wanted to do the right thing for Avantasia. And, you know, me leaving a company is not an easy thing. I'm a very, very loyal person. I don't say that to brag and to tell everybody I'm like Jesus. Now the thing is, I'm just so afraid of having a new environment. Gives me a certain amount of uncertainty and insecurity also, and I need that security to function. That's why we have the same crew. That's why I have the same band. I need security. I need to have family around me, and that's why a step like this is more difficult for me than you would imagine.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm looking always at this side, but you're here. I can
yeah,
see you there.
yeah,
There's your
yeah,
there's your nose.
yeah. And so you you went to Napalm Records and you created some great special editions of the album, which you have been bragging about these special editions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Proudly.
it's I mean, I've seen that 96-page special edition, which might be sold out already.
I don't know. I don't know if it's sold out, but at least maybe it's sold out. I don't know if we got some in our web shop, but I don't follow it up every day. But it's really, really a very, very good edition, and I really I mean, I really put a lot of blood and sweat, and not really blood and sweat, but I've worked many hours on it personally. It's got a lot of information in there. And I don't approach it like what would people want to buy? What could we sell best? I always approach it, and that's a ridiculous thought in an economical way. If you are, it's I mean, it's not the industry standard at all. I approach everything just like I do it for myself, and I say if it's good for me, other people will maybe like it as well. And so I want to do what I would want to have if Iron Maiden or Kiss would do it. I do those kinds of things for myself with my band and the stuff that I would want to have. And that's how I sat down. I said, okay, it's not enough to just put 3 discs in it. It's not enough to just put a lot of photos in there. You have to really put life and soul in there. And so I was sitting night after night, writing notes about pictures. This is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing here. What every song is about, how the album came together, how I was traveling to Cornwall to write the music and write lyrics, how I was working in the studio with Bob, how we were doing this and that. And there's so much information in there. And I just did it because I thought it's great to have it. And also for me as a time capsule, I always I believe in nostalgia as much as everybody who's asking for Ed Guy and why I don't do the Metal Opera Part 3. I do believe in nostalgia as well, but I want to create material for nostalgia now. That's the difference. I want to do something now that has not been done 20 years ago. I want to do something now that Christmas 2047, I will sit under the Christmas tree, go through this edition, and remember those times and say, wow, here be dragons. Oh, yeah, that was with Bob in the studio. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to create a time capsule with a lot of material, and you can take that book and spend, hours with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what I want to do.
Yeah, but why
But I
don't
think
you unite that guy and create Metal Opera Part 3? Just tell me now.
I don't have time. At one point, I mean, I will never do Metal Opera Part 3, but because it's stupid. I mean, those characters, half of them, it's like the story is over. You cannot just. I'm not, doing
A
Star
prequel.
Wars.
Do a prequel.
Yeah, yeah, but it doesn't make sense. I couldn't artificially, and I couldn't go back to that type of songwriting. I
No, no,
couldn't
no,
I
no.
couldn't do it. It would feel cheesy with that guy. As you ask, I think at some point we will probably. I don't know if we do an album. I don't think it works because nobody buys albums anymore. I know it's weird that I'm
Yeah,
saying
but
this
the
while
tour
I'm
would be
just
fine.
promoting one. I think there is a chance that we'll do
Yeah,
it one day,
yeah,
but I'm still a bit afraid of it at this
yeah.
point. But at some point, we're in touch. I mean, I'm Dick and me. We're sending stupid little pictures on WhatsApp every 3 days, so so we are in touch.
Yeah, we're okay with Avantasia, Toby. Don't have any problem with that. Thank you very much for your time because I think that the next journalist will be waiting for his own interview.
Thank you, Sakis, and yeah, thank you, and talk to you, and good luck with whatever you are planning with other bands coming to other festivals.